What is up, guys? It's your boy Build Crafting Cactus, and today we are going to be showcasing an unbelievably powerful Titan build. This is arguably the most important build to have access to within Destiny 2 episode Heresy, and that's because it is the cornerstone of several key DPS strategies within relevant new activities like the brand new Sundered Doctrine dungeon, and it's also just incredible in every aspect of PvE, guys. If you have a Titan, make this build. And so, let's get started. Now, first of all, I have partnered with Mobalytics, your source for Destiny 2 builds. Definitely click the link in the description down below, guys, where you can see this build outlined in an easy to read, easy to understand format, including dim links. Definitely check that out after you're done watching this video so you know exactly how and why this build works. Alright, now, let's get started here with actually the subclass. Now, that's because this build is kind of built around the brand new Storm's Keep arc aspect. Now, this says cast your class ability to grant a moderate amount of bolt charge stacks for you and nearby allies. Bolt charge is a brand new keyword added in episode Heresy, and every stack you get is going to give a little chunk of melee, and once you reach max stacks, your abilities will discharge a lightning bolt and do a massive amount of damage. Storm's Keep will allow you to discharge that bolt charge with weapons as long as you are behind your barricade, and that gives you colossal DPS increases. It is the key factor in getting the one phase kill on the brand new Sundered Doctrine boss, for example, as you can see right here. In fact, multiple Striker Titans with multiple Storm's Keep will actually stack, and you will accumulate bolt charge even faster, guys. So super powerful for DPS output, but also just powerful in general play. Causing those lightning strikes when you're in the nether, when you're anywhere, frankly, is super useful. Now, you absolutely want to pair this with Rally Barricade. This offers a very fast cooldown and will give you a reload speed increase when you're standing behind it. After that, your other aspect is going to be Knockout. This is our main source of healing, and it's also an incredibly easy way to become Amplified. Amplified also got a massive buff within episode Heresy, now providing damage resistance and making it less likely for enemies to actually shoot at you. Super good. Our super is going to be Thunder Crash, and then we have a Thunderclap as our melee. Now, there's some other melee options here, but Thunderclap has been performing exceptionally well. If you can just hold it for like 1 or 2 seconds, you get a massive increase to damage over a tremendous range. This will almost guarantee you get a kill to start the health regen of Knockout. And then we have a Pulse Grenade. Honestly, you could go with another grenade, but I just really like Pulse Grenade for PvE. Now, as for the Fragments, guys, first of all, Spark of Shock. We're actually going to be getting our grenades a lot, and you'll see why in a sec, and so having that jolt is incredibly useful. Not to mention, jolted enemies take more damage, so if you can just throw one grenade, during or starting a damage phase and then start going to town with Storm's Keep and all the lightning strikes, like that jolted enemy, that's actually going to result in more damage. That is very useful. Now, after that, we actually have Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with bolt charge creates an Ionic Trace. Ionic Traces with Spark of Ions come fast and furiously, let me tell you, and this is going to result in, again, just way more ability spam. Now, another option here is Spark of Discharge, but we're actually generating so much bolt charge so quickly that turning those into Ionic Traces is actually going to be really useful, and jolting targets too, that happens quite a lot. Now, after that, Spark of Resistance, more damage resistance, it's amazing. And lastly, Spark of Frequency. This is key for this episode, and it says melee hits will increase your equipped weapon's reload speed and stability. That doesn't really matter. What really matters is while amplified, the effects are increased and you gain increased stacks of bolt charge. So that means you are going to trigger those Storm Keep ascending bolt charges even faster. You're going to get way more lightning strikes, and your DPS is just going to ascend way faster. So Spark of Frequency, super important when you're talking about just high DPS output. Now, what is the exotic we're pairing all this with? It's going to be the Heart of Inmost Light. I've heard some people really like running the Skullfort, but honestly that's kind of a different, more melee focused build. Our build is going to be spamming the crap out of every single ability as often as possible, making it unbelievable for general purpose play, and the more barricades you get means the more lightning bolt discharges you're going to get in DPS. Now some DPS phases will probably want you to quickly hot swap to the Cuirass for more Thunder Crash damage, but for 99% of the time, Heart of Inmost Light is unbelievably powerful because you use your grenade, you get, quicker recharging and more powerful melees, right? So you're gonna hit even harder with your melees, guaranteeing those knockout health regens. And then when your melee is done, you cast your barricade, which is recharging way faster, by the way. It has increased health points, and remember, Bolt Charge gives you melee back. So you cast your barricade, you instantly get 6 stacks of Bolt Charge, you get like 30-40% of your melee back right then, and then Heart of Inmost Light is going to trigger, and then you're going to get even faster regen of your melee. So you can absolutely spam your abilities with the Heart of Inmost Light, and that means a ridiculous amount of bolt charges because of how many barricades you actually get. Now, moving on from there for the weapons, first of all, we want a good arc primary. I'm using the Pyroelectric Propellant right here because of jolting feedback. Remember, those jolts are going to give ionic traces, and so this combined with Strategist, so I get even more barricades, is frankly absurd. It's so absurd, honestly, you might not actually need it. Like, we get so many barricades here, it's kind of overkill. So just any good jolting arc primary here is going to be fantastic. Now after that, guys, there's 2 different options you can go with for your heavy. First of all is the Queenbreaker. If you have the Catalyst, this thing rips, and if you're actually DPSing, again, like the final boss of the new dungeon, you want the Queenbreaker. I've also started to bring this into just the Nether because there's so many Tormentors and bosses. Again, the Queenbreaker, when you're behind your barricade with those lightning strikes, you are going to slaughter bosses this season. But for more general purpose play, swap it to the Thunderlord, baby. I know the Thunderlord is a bit of a meme, but my god, it is incredible this season, and it will generate its own stacks of bolt charge when you get those lightning strikes. So this thing is going to cause even more of those lightning bolts, and the DPS from the Thunderlord this season is phenomenal, guys. And again, for ad clearing, it's just crazy good. Then for our special, we are using the Scatter Signal, right? Especially if you are pairing it with the Linear Fusion Rifle. Linear Fusion Rifles and Fusion Rifles work together here, guys, and the Scatter Signal being Strand, we'll talk about that in a second, and also having Overflow plus Controlled Burst, this thing absolutely rips. It is amazing for DPS, it crushes yellow bars, it can, do some ad clearing as well, but honestly, this is just so good this season. Now, why is that? Well, we gotta dive into the seasonal artifact perks. They are so important, guys. So we've got Unstoppable Fusions, Overload Machine Guns. It doesn't really work right now against the champions, but it will also make machine guns exhaust targets, which is super important. And then we just have Piercing Sidearms, I guess, whatever. Then you have Overclock and Load. So when you're amplified, which is all the time, your arc weapons gain increased reload speed and handling. Then importantly, we have Unraveling Orbs. This is why we're using that Strand Fusion Rifle, because you just pick up an Orb of Power, which are going to be all over the place. You get Unraveling rounds. It is so easy to have 100% uptime on Unraveling rounds. After that, Hold the Line. When surrounded, machine guns and glaives gain better reload speed, and final blows will heal you. So again, if you're using the Thunderlord, this is a must. Dielectric, defeating arc debuffed targets, which is really jolted targets, grants bolt charge. So that's exactly what we want to be doing. After that, we've got Dreadful Finisher. This is one of the better seasonal artifact perks this season, giving you basically constant special ammo. And then 100% require, like, I don't care if you change every other perk here, what you 100% need is Flashover, because when you gain maximum bolt charge, which you're going to get so easily behind your barricade, you also instantly become amplified, and lightning bolts deal more damage. And it's not just more damage, it's like almost double damage. The amount of damage you are getting from Flashover is actually shocking, and it is the key artifact perk in how you're able to get some some of these one phases. It's so good. And then we have Horde Shuttle, right? Because of our scatter signal, we're getting unraveling automatically, and now we're spawning threadlings as we're dumping our fusion into more powerful enemies. Like, this is crazy, crazy good. After that, guys, you want particle reconstruction because of the scatter signal, and especially, again, if you are using the Queen Breaker, because this makes linears and fusions weaken enemies on hit, providing even more damage to those weapon archetypes. It is a huge DPS increase, guys, and if you're instead committing to the Thunderlord, you could absolutely run heavy ordnance regeneration, so that when you're using that Thunderlord, you get more damage resistance, which is crazy, and grenade and ability regeneration, guys. Now, moving on from there, some important armor mods. So, for the helmet, we do have a harmonic siphon, very important to get that orb production. We have a heavy ammo finder, and I do have a hands-on because of how many melee kills we are getting, but you can change this to something else. After that, for the gauntlets, we are going to have bolstering detonation and focusing strike, so we're just getting our class ability so much more often from our other two abilities. And then we've got an arc loader, which is actually quite important for that DPS output. You want your arc weapons to reload faster. Then for your chest piece, your resistances are just going to change depending on what activity you're actually doing. And then, guys, for the legs, I have triple arc weapon surge, baby. But this is going to be for if you're actually doing like boss DPS. More realistically, guys, what's going to happen is that you are going to put on a different mod, and then you're probably just going to fit in recuperation or better already for more healing, or if you want a harmonic scavenger for more ammo for your arc heavy. But again, if you're doing DPS, the triple arc weapon surge is the play, guys. And then as for your class ability, we really want a powerful attraction. We are using our class ability so often to build up bolt charge. This is very useful, and time dilation for those arc weapon surges. And then I fit in a bomber just because you are going to be spamming your class abilities so much. Getting your grenade because of that is very good, but honestly, outreach is just as good, guys. Now, as for the key stats, you absolutely want 100 resilience. Then I did go with 100 discipline, but going with 100 strength is not a bad idea either. It's frankly going to be resilience, discipline, and strength you want to spec into, followed by maybe some recovery, and then after that, intellect and mobility don't matter as much. And there you have it. Overall, this is just so powerful, and Storm's Keep is really the reason this build is rocking and rolling so hard right now. The damage increase that your entire team gets just from you putting your class ability is unbelievable, and it's so important. I want you guys to understand, like, Storm's Keep, spamming barricades, this is also just good in general purpose play, because your barricades actually do damage when enemies go through them. Like, if you're surrounded by enemies, you're surrounded by thralls, you put down your barricade, one thrall touches it, they take damage, that will discharge max bolt charge, and that will cause a lightning strike and just kill all the thralls around you. So your barricade is basically like an emergency kill everything around me button as well, which is super, super cool. And the more barricades you spam, again, the more thunderclaps, the more jolting pulse grenades, all of your abilities are slapping every enemy you come across. And then you've also got synergies with your arc weapons as well, like especially your primary causing jolts, which causes more bolt charge. The amplified buff is also incredibly noticeable on this build. You actually are incredibly tanky, even though you lack stuff like woven mail, because of that amplified damage resistance combined with a lesser chance just to be shot at. It is so, so powerful, guys. If you can put this build together, I would highly, highly recommend it. Guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.